This is Snake. You're listening to the Kojima Productions Report with Ryan Payton, so pay attention.
All right, this is Ryan from the Kojima Productions Report. I'm going to do a montage here at E4All 2007. I'm in LA. I'm going to be asking attendees to the show what they thought about the game, what they thought of the show. I'm going to be asking what they think of Metal Gear Solid 4, the good parts and the bad. And so here we go. I'm just going to cut in a bunch of different clips. And first, starting off is we got Ian and we got Jamie, who have attended all 4 days of the show.
Yep.
And so what do you think? What do you think of the show in general?
I thought the show was really good. I got to say, Konami's booth, to me, is the highlight. That's the hit. Nintendo has a lot of floor space, but Konami has a lot of content. And all the games I wanted to see are there. I think you got something for everybody who likes a Konami game. Metal Gear obviously being, the biggest game I could think of, here at the show. Metal Gear, Silent Hill, Castlevania, and then of course Dance Dance Revolution. People love that. Metal Gear Portable Ops.
Yeah, we always talk with the guys who put together the booth, and that Dance Dance Revolution always brings a big crowd.
Yeah.
So it's always a big hit at consumer shows like this or like at Comic-Con.
That and the fact you can buy stuff at the Konami is awesome.
Yeah, we had those limited edition Metal Gear shirts.
Yep.
I think we've got 10 left, and so by the time this thing goes up, the show's gonna be over. So I would tell you to run by and try to pick up the last 10. But you guys are some of the lucky few who picked up the limited edition shirts. So. But yeah, I think it's safe to say Metal Gear has a big presence here. Smash Brothers, Mario Galaxy, those are like the top 3 I can think of, unless you guys.
Smash Brothers, Mario Galaxy, Guitar Hero, Rock Band. But what's weird is all those games aren't really trying to be innovative, nor do they have any storyline at all.
Right.
So it's just it's mostly all those are on the end of user created. Fun, user-created content.
Casual
They're casual. Mm-hmm. Metal Gear's not casual.
Well, just so I can get this on the record, I want to express my idea about the next guitar game is that there should be a narrative. I'm always thinking about like a behind the scenes, how VH1 used to have those.
Yeah.
Like it would be awesome to have like a Nirvana one where you're playing the early tunes and and then you progress through the life, and then they have like documentary footage of the band when they're young, and just have like this narrative until like their last concerts, like doing the Unplugged in New York, and then that's how you wrap up the game.
Or even different storylines.
Cool.
Maybe you go Bowie and you do Aladdin Sane. Maybe you fake your own death. Maybe you go Elvis and you just vanish into the sunset.
Right, but it'd be fun to go down like this, like from like a chronological, maybe 2 decades of like a really famous band, and then play those tunes and have those different venues that they played at, and like as they get bigger and bigger, and at the very end you're doing those big rock arenas like U2 or something like that. I think that'd be cool.
You could follow a band like say Aerosmith or the Rolling Stones over like 80 years.
Yeah, I think aren't they 100 by now? But so just so we have that on record, EA, Activision, you can send your checks my way. It's
That's
Ryan Payton with an A, not an E. And, so going into the MGS4 demo, let's talk about the stuff that you were impressed by, and then we'll go into like the negative stuff, because that's what I want to hear. Because part of the reason we're here is we're doing surveys. We want to get some user feedback.
Yeah,
Jamie, let's go.
The camo system is definitely really advanced in this one. I kind of really liked, though, in Metal Gear 3 how you could get the different camos or download them eventually and that kind of thing. That was kind of a neat feature, but this one definitely takes the cake for being like very advanced. It really kind of puts you in there. I guess it makes the stealth action even better. You get right up there in the scene.
Well, yeah. This time we don't require you to go into the menu to switch your camera, right?
Yeah,
it's all on the fly.
That's a lot. I was really impressed by that, because at first I was thinking you have to like hit a button or do something to kind of make the Octo Cam actually take the background.
Like Metal Gear versus say like Resident Evil 4. You want to get an item in Resident Evil 4 or do something. You talk about pressing the start button, waiting 5 seconds, going into a menu, managing the menu.
Right.
It drags the game down. Metal Gear. Press the button, switch your weapon on the fly. Now switching your camo on the fly.
Yeah, we're fixing a bunch of things.
It's awesome.
But I'm not one to bash RE4 because it's a great game. But I know what you're saying.
That's
totally
down for me. Why can't I just great, I'm shooting a shotgun, now just put that away and pull out the
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that was one of my big complaints with MGS3 too, is that you had to shift those menus, and there was a bit of a loading time to get into that menu. And so I'm so happy that we have this real-time on-the-fly camo system. And it's not in the demo right now, but it actually was in an early build of the demo. But you could save your octo camo pattern, and then in the final version of the game you can. So you can go into the menu, you can save it, and then you can load it up whenever you want to.
So if you find a really weird wall,
yeah, exactly.
a weird wall or a weird thing that you find yourself using, or as a good tactics.
Yeah, exactly. So if you need like a white base camo, for example, then you're gonna have to. You can load up maybe one that you saved previously.
That's
really
cool.
cool.
That
That's
is
really
pretty
neat.
cool.
So yeah, that's as far as I'll say about the Octocamo for now. But but how about you, Ian? Like, what things would you enjoy about the demo? And then
as far as enjoying the demo, the biggest thing for me was the new control scheme. Being able to use the L1 trigger to pull up your weapon,
Right.
then you've got your R1 to fire.
Right.
It feels so natural into every other game that you play.
Right.
Every other game, it's like I love to play Warhawk, I love to play SOCOM.
Right.
I don't love to play Halo, but I play Halo, and you know what I mean? Every other thing, it's that action. Things have moved away from the X square circle for firing and
Right.
gone into this R1.
Yeah.
Having the R1 uncombined with the L1 to be the
CQC,
the
right?
CQC stuff is awesome. You can roll up on somebody and it's immediate.
Right.
Like,
Did
don't
you
have
figure
mess
out how to
around
do
at all.
that judo move where you wrap around the
Yep.
guy? Because I mean, it's kind of difficult to explain over like a podcast, but you basically have to just flick the controller as if you were turning the guy around, and after a couple times, it's pretty intuitive, and so I'm glad you guys figured that out.
It was neat. It was interesting to see that there wasn't any, or at least in the demo, any integration with the 6-axis. I don't know if there will be in the final build.
Well, there's two things in the demo you can use the 6-axis with.
Okay.
You can waggle the controller,
Right.
And then you're gonna go. Your octo camo is gonna set to the default setting, so it's gonna go to that blue.
Oh, that's cool.
That blue octo camo, and then if you jump into the dumpster, if you tilt the 6-axis up, you can peek out from inside that dumpster.
That's awesome.
We're gonna have to go
But
back
we
and try
pulled
that.
out, we pulled out a couple other 6-axis functionality because gameplay comes
confusing for
first.
people.
Well, gameplay
Yeah.
comes first. It's not as precise as we were kind of hoping in some respects. But for like the dumpster, peeking out from that's like a cool gimmick that we're sticking on that 6-axis, not the
That's awesome.
left stick. So how about stuff that you thought, hey, I'm hoping that you guys fix this or you address this in the retail version because that's what I want to hear.
At first, I had a hard time finding out how to zoom in with the weapons until I guess Ian found out it was a triangle, and then actually I tried it and I actually really liked that. As far as anything else, I actually found everything to be pretty smooth. I did have a hard time, like you were saying, when you do grab the guys. I did not figure out how to throw them down. I got the one where I threw the guy down on the ground, but I didn't kind of raggle him up and knock him out. That was a little confusing for me, but otherwise it was...
That's the crutch of the Metal Gear Solid series is that we keep adding things to Snake's
Yeah.
skill set, but we also need to streamline the controls. We recognize that. So, I mean, what do we do for the retail? Because you guys have this privilege of doing this briefing, myself and Fernando and another guy on the Konami staff named Patrick. We're doing these briefings and we're giving you like a 5-minute crash course on the controls. Well, for the guys who pick it up at the retail level, like how are they going to know how to do these advanced judo moves and all this kind of stuff? So a lot of stuff going on in my mind right now about how to get people up to speed with the series without losing them in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about you, Ian?
I guess this is going to sound weird. I played a lot of Metal Gear. I played all the Metal Gear games, beaten it on European Extreme, done everything.
You're hardcore.
Like, loved Metal Gear series. And I guess the only thing that I find in this game that's still the same as the other games is you can bully your way through it, like without killing anyone, knocking them down and using the judo moves. I'm not saying Snake is necessarily overpowered, but I think once people get good at the CQC, you can really bully your way through that game. And it seems like everything Kojima's worked on has that same element of like, here's a 20-hour game, or it's a 3-hour game if you know what you're doing.
Right.
And that's kind of cool. I mean, that's neat because then it's not about beating the game anymore. It's about coming up with new ways to do things, new skill sets, finding new ways to move around. I like the environment. I mean, every other environment, it's like the Doom games or something like, okay, now you're in another steel hallway. Now you're in another steel hallway. And this is definitely
There's a couple different ways to approach it, and I don't know if you guys
I've gone
noticed.
through the demo 6 different ways.
Right.
Different crouching, different rolling, different jumping through, getting spotted, not getting spotted. I've walked around both sides of the APC.
Right.
And that thing will shoot at you.
Yeah, when you rendezvous with Otacon, there's that cut scene where you meet up with him, and in that room there's actually a ladder that you can take.
Yep.
I don't know if you took that or not.
I took that up, and you can take that up.
See,
Then
there's
there's a
nothing I
weird
can
set
tell
of
you. There's
boxes
nothing I
up
gotta
there.
inform you. You got everything.
Yeah, no. There's a set of boxes up there, and if you roll just right, you could jump over that set of boxes.
Yes.
You can land on this destroyed piece of brick, go out onto an upper walkway that goes all the way around.
And
from up top,
you want to
launch
do
that rocket.
you want to do my job. I'm looking to retire. And so for forthcoming editions of the Kojima Productions podcast, we have Ian as the host. He obviously knows more about Metal Gear than I do. But yeah, that's cool.
It's a good demo. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a lot of flack over the past few days because the news did come out that we're not going to put it on the PlayStation Store. And I understand people are disappointed. Actually, one guy, I checked the one message board the other day, and he said something to the equivalent of "no demo, no sale. I will not buy MGS4 unless there's a demo out." I'm like, what is wrong with you? I mean, like, obviously it's the internet. People say whatever, right? But that's going a little too extreme. I think.
Yeah.
No, I think it's better that you don't release a demo. I think people playing it here with the briefing and everything makes sense.
Right.
I think if you release a demo, it's like everybody wants. Let's put it this way: the beta of Halo 3 ruined it. The beta of Call of Duty 4 ruined it. Everybody already figured out all the secrets online. Everybody already, it's like the automatic sniper rifle in Call of Duty 4. Okay, that's it.
See,
That's the
I don't
weapon.
know.
What's the
If we
point?
can get away with calling it a beta, I would do it. But because it's a single player game,
That's the
people
thing.
aren't gonna forgive because there are a couple elements in the game that we're not satisfied with, and
Right.
I've said this in interviews that that we're still tweaking the AI, and we know that if we put this on the PlayStation Store, people are going to break the game, and then within 20 minutes, people are going to start uploading YouTube videos of the AI being a little weird and like they're being like stuck in an infinite loop. The game does have a couple of A bugs left in it.
James glitched it out for last play.
Okay.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah, exactly.
But that happens. That's
that's
why it's a beta. It's a
And
demo.
so,
It's
like,
a
let's say
test.
we get 100,000 downloads, and then 0.5% of those guys, like when they play the game, it glitches out or it crashes, or they don't have that experience that they're looking for because we are still tweaking the game. For example, in the beginning, I explained in the briefing that there's a striker that comes up, and the PMCs are there. We watched people at TGS, and they were trying to take out that striker with grenades, and which it makes sense. It's an action game, and so
but how are you going to beat up a tank with a handful
exactly.
of grenades?
Well, that's the thing. Mr. Shinkawa told me, look, you cannot take out a striker with a grenade, but you can take it out with an RPG-7.
That's what I did. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I beat the hell out of that thing.
Well, and so I explained that in the briefing. Look, guys, you can't take it out with a grenade. So what I'm doing in 3 weeks is I'm coming back to LA. I'm going to record a couple more real-time codecs with Audicon, and he's going to basically tell Snake if the player tries to take out the striker with a grenade, Snake, you know better. You can't take out a striker with a grenade. Things like that to smoothen the experience. I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, in your house when you play the demo, when you download off the PlayStation Store to whisper in your ear what you need to do. So there are still those tweaks. So.
That's a smart
you can forget. Please forgive us, for not having the demo available from day one or after the E4All. We'll think about doing that demo because we know there's a lot of people that want to play it, and that won't be in LA for this event. So,
I don't know. It was worth coming to E4All was worth playing the Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Seriously, like it was awesome.
well,
Like,
you got to play other games too, right? Rock
we
Band?
played everything. We played Rock Band. We played Guitar Hero.
we made
played
around the
Smash
place.
Brothers. We played
How was that?
Crossbow.
How was Rock Band and Guitar Heroes? I mean,
Rock Band and Guitar Hero are great. Rock Band and Guitar Hero will be more fun when you do it with your friends,
Right.
in your environment that you're jamming out.
Right.
Watching people go stiff in front of other people and be like,
Right.
and not be able to sing is funny.
The stage
but-
fright, yes.
Yeah, but
stage
that,
fright.
when it's people jumping around in their basement, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
that's
they're,
fun,
or they're in
right.
their loft and they're just hanging out with their friends,
how are the
It's
controllers
really
after 4 days of people kind of drooling all over them? Or,
horrible.
yeah.
Don't let anybody ever touch your guitar. Some of those were bad.
I think after this event, you should go check for yourself for a hepatitis B check.
Yeah,
or
no, I
something
was
like
going to
that.
rub my hands on the cement and, try to wash them off with hot boiling water.
I was always wondering about that. I don't think I'm ready to go over to that booth and handle those guitars after 4 days of.
No, we probably washed our hands 500 times.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And don't think less of me. I might not be able to shake your hand after the end of this podcast, to
okay.
thank you for it, but I appreciate you guys coming on the show. I just wanted to get some, real user feedback, which it's a very rarity for us. We don't get the chance to interact with the true gamer, and so I appreciate you guys coming on the show and coming to the E4All, and hopefully I can grab some other people before we end the show here at 4 o'clock on Sunday. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab some more. Poor souls. Well, thanks, Ian and Jamie. It was a lot of fun.
Hey,
Yeah,
thank
thank you.
you.
All right, so I'm with the boys from Screw Attack. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure, I'm Stuttering Craig.
And I'm Handsome Tom.
Handsome Tom, Stuttering Craig.
That's
Yeah.
right.
From screwattack.com. It's a very funny site. You guys do a lot of good videos. You do the top 10, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah, the top 10's pretty popular. It's one of those things that it's always great because everyone's top 10 is always different.
It is.
And everyone's going
It's
to
always controversial.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what makes it great. I mean, we have a bunch of fun lists coming up, and we've got like the top 5 reasons to come to E4All, the bottom 5 reasons why not to come.
Can you remember any of those? Either good or bad reasons?
As a matter
to
of
come?
fact, I can. Would you like the exclusive?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you will see in the top reasons, like the booth babes, the return of the booth babes.
Right.
While they're not the A-list, they are. It's a start.
Yes,
you know?
there's some potential.
Yeah, we dug the celebrities. I guess you're considered a celebrity.
I guess that's the rumor going around these
That's
days.
what we hear.
Yeah. So and good old JR from WWE, you saw him over there.
Yeah.
We interviewed him. That was really cool.
Awesome.
So he's a celebrity. Some bigger games like MGS4.
Well, Akira Yamaoka, the creator of the Silent Hill series, he was here. Iga from Councilman. You can't miss that guy. He's got the whip and the cowboy hat.
Oh, dude, that guy's nuts.
And we were going to interview him, but the translator probably, we thought the interview was going to be boring. So
Usually our interviews are a little more
quick,
fun
witty.
and fast-paced. Yeah, and we felt that with a translator put in there, they might
You kind of lose the edge.
we either really offend him or we lose the translation.
he strangles us with the whip.
Yeah, I was talking to Tom recently. We were talking about you guys might go to Tokyo Game Show next year, and I was like, you might have to tone it down a little bit, unless you guys want to get kicked out of the country. Not only the show, but the country.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Screw Attack, kicked out of Japan.
Man, that would make headlines.
Well, I heard about some kind of gaming event you guys were at, and there was you brought some dude with a Lucha Libre mask, and he was in a Speedo, and I heard that was a huge hit with the organizers of that show.
Yeah, they really loved it so much they booted us out.
It's kind of fun. We try to get kicked out of every. We don't even try sometimes, but we get kicked out of every event we go to.
We've been. Let's see. Just off the top of my head, we've been kicked out of Video Games Live.
That's an accomplishment.
Which is very hard to do. We've been kicked out of multiple gaming tournaments, which is
What's funny is they ask us to come. It's not like we just showed up.
Right.
They asked us to come,
And then they kick you out.
and then they kick us out of their own event.
which is great.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of Video Games Live, I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
no.
Just a couple nights ago, they had a show at the Nokia Theater, that brand new Nokia Theater
We were there.
downtown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, we had Metal Gear music, of course, that they showed, and they also had the Contra music, which was hilarious because they had Chris Klein.
He calls himself
Chris
the
Klein,
Vector Man or something like that.
Yeah,
Chris Klein, he's great. The dude's awesome. On
He has
the
like
guitar.
this heavy metal rendition of I think it's the first stage in the original Contra.
Oh,
It was pretty amazing.
Man, that guy, he was jamming out. Like he was upstaging Tommy Tallarico on stage, which was really
he was
cool.
rocking.
No doubt. That whole show is really cool. And we actually gave our original tickets to a couple friends of ours who really aren't into gaming, but when they came to the show and after they left, they were like, wow, this is really cool.
I didn't realize gaming had that sophistication to it.
Yeah, which is pretty rad to see,
What's funny is that was the first time I attended the show too, and they just for people who don't know, it's kind of like more like a rock concert more than a symphony, but they do have an orchestra and they play favorite video game music from the past 2 decades, and also in between songs they sometimes have guests come up on stage, or they have people playing games like through a competition. And there's this really funny part, I think, in the second half of the show where they brought up this guy to play Frogger, and I think he had 2 minutes to clear the stage or something to that equivalent.
He was kicking ass too.
And the reason why he was kicking ass, and here's the background story on that guy.
He was practicing, wasn't he?
No, he's a former Konami employee, and he got chosen. He didn't even know he was going to play Frogger. And he got up on stage. He'd QA'd Frogger, I think, for like 6 months.
Really?
Which is why he could fly through it. I think he went so fast that he actually crashed the game. And
something did crash the game. It was pretty funny, but the little kid on the set that he was going to play, he was all, oh, dang.
It was him versus another kid, and the other kid didn't even get a chance. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. That guy was in full snake getup, and he's a cool cat, but and he's also a hardcore Frogger fan, which I don't think Tommy Tallarico could have ever imagined that would happen.
Well, the big hint might have been the giant frog he brought up on stage.
But you know what? That frog is actually from Metal Gear, not from Frogger.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
Right?
See?
All right, well, it works out, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous.
So what about E4All? I mean, what are other things you think they can improve on next year? And I mean, let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. E4All, I think this is a good first step. I guess if I can get a little serious, it's a good first step. But with you saw like Microsoft, Sony, they're not here, which is one of those things where I think they had a presence here. I don't know if it was announced, but I know for sure Sony was here checking it out. And just seeing, well, hey, should we be here? Is this worth our time? Is it worth our money to come down here? But it's one of those things where it has potential, which
It could go either way because I mean some of these sponsors are kind of soured by the lack of attendance. So I mean either they're gonna go for a leap of faith next year and hopefully some other people will join in. If not, it's just gonna disappear.
Yeah, I'm one who's pretty encouraged by what I saw here because you don't have all the booths that you have at E3, but I think I'll be interested to see like a booth per attendee ratio. I think compared to E3, I think we have more attendees per booth than compared to last year's E3, and it would be encouraging if publishers like Sony and Microsoft and Capcom would attend. I mean, can you imagine like how many people we'd have here if Devil May Cry 4 was here, or if Call of Duty was here?
4?
Yeah, I mean, even if Mass Effect was here,
absolutely. But
Uncharted or whatever.
But the thing about that though is you're like, can you imagine all the people? Well, then why did they stop E3 to begin with?
Right, exactly.
You know, it's like you're just going back to where you started, and then the publishers are going to be pissed because they didn't have the opportunity to get the one-on-one time with media or whatever, which is,
But I like this. It's a pure consumer show, and it's the first time for me to actually be able to connect with like real Metal Gear players. So we've getting lots of feedback. You guys played the demo, right?
We did play the demo. Yeah, I enjoyed blowing stuff up with the rocket launcher. It was great.
Yeah, we actually give players that option for the first time Metal Gear, which I think is a good thing.
Oh yeah, no, it was the sound was great too, man. I mean, you got
by far,
the sound. You got things.
I'm glad you
going
guys
off
mentioned that
everywhere.
because the sound teams are very happy when people mention the sound because I think we're doing more we're putting more into the sound than any other game coming out next year.
7.1 or something ridiculous.
It's
like
really
that.
ridiculous what we're throwing into it, and I keep talking about it in interviews and things. And
there were multiple times while I was playing the game, I literally turned around because I thought somebody was saying something behind me. I swear. Like I'm playing the demo, and I probably look like an idiot, but hey, what are you going to do? But I think that's pretty much.
You didn't know I was actually videotaping you when you did that. I'm going to put it on screwattack.com.
Wow.
All right, there we go.
That wouldn't be the first time I look like an idiot on our site, so that's all right.
So do you guys want to plug anything you guys coming up, or I mean?
Sure. Well, you can always go to our site, screwattack.com, to see our incredibly witty and entertaining videos.
Always witty, always funny. Never a dull moment.
That's what
never
we
a bad
go
joke.
For. Yeah, never a bad joke, except for that one time. You can also go to game trailers and see our stuff. I've been downloaded a crap ton on there.
We're very tasteful as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Hitting people in the nuts.
You'll never see a nut shot, nothing like that. Oh, and
not a porno site.
No, never.
Exactly. And we do have our second annual Iron Man of Gaming tournament coming up in June, which is going to be in Dallas, which is going to be.
What's that?
The Iron Man of Gaming is like it's going to be just freaking incredible. It's like right now there's Halo tournaments and there's whatever tournaments, and everyone who wins is like, I'm the best gamer in the world. Well, no, you're not, because you can't play Mario.
Right.
So like. The Iron Man is based on a tournament concept based on all consoles, all genres, and all eras, to where everything is eligible to be played. And we have 5 classic games, 4 current games, and 1 mystery game being played in it. And everything is weighed evenly, like totally. So we're really actually looking for the best gamer ever, to where if you're good at, like I said, Halo, you need to be good at
that's cool because
league football.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that these aren't big accomplishments when you win a Halo 3 tournament or a Call of Duty tournament or whatever, but I mean, you have been investing a ton of time into that one title, and so if you could be thrown any game and be really awesome at it, and that's a really true, pure test of your gaming skills. So I will be there in Dallas to take that top prize.
I totally look forward to
we already have people that are ready to. We haven't announced any games yet, but they're ready to start training.
Absolutely.
How do you train? You don't even know what's. I mean, I guess you can imagine like Mario's gonna be there or Pac-Man, but
we will announce the games over a period of time.
Okay, and then there's the one mystery.
The one mystery game, you're just gonna be totally out of luck. You're gonna be good at something.
Yeah, Iron Man game is going to be launching soon, where you'll be able to. The competitors will actually be able to vote on the current games. The classic games are going to be set.
Okay.
And then we'll announce the current games as it gets closer to it, and that'll allow people to, to go nuts and really get the training going on. We're giving away over right now it's over $10,000 in cash prizes. So it's going to be awesome. So.
And one thing that we do is we don't like trophies, but we do give away a championship belt, like literally a WWE style. I mean, it's leather. It takes up your whole body.
That's awesome.
That's what we give away. We gave away. We don't give away checks either. It's cash.
You throw in the actual the greenbacks.
We actually did it all in $1 bills this last time. So he had this bundle of cash.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. You never know what's going to happen. So.
That's the whole point.
All right, so that's coming in June? You said
June 19th through 21st at the Grapevine Convention Center in Dallas, which is right next to the airport, so it's really easy to get to. And it's going to be an awesome time. We're totally stoked about it. So.
Well, thanks guys for joining me on the podcast. And I'm going to try to go track down some more people to appear on my show, talk about E4All, talk about the demo.
Sounds like a plan. You can tell all of them that they suck.
All right, I will.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, yeah, okay.
I love you, Ryan.
I love you too, Greg.
Thanks,
All right,
dude.
yeah, thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah, you're the man.
All right, so I just caught up with Victor Lucas from Electirc Playground. We're at E4All, just caught him on the show floor, and I thought we'd just have a little quick fireside chat about the show, about MGS4.
How's it going? I'm a fan of your podcast, so I'm honored to be on it, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's been blowing up lately. I think because the game's almost ready to launch, we're getting really tens of thousands of listeners.
It's awesome.
It's pretty
I think
cool.
it's a really cool thing that you guys are doing, and I think Kojima-san has his own podcast that he does as well, too.
Yeah, have you
right?
heard that he's on a hiatus from the podcast?
Is he? Just taking a chill?
Well, it's kind of a media blackout. Maybe that's why I'm here at the show, because he's decided that with the last stretch of the game, he can't be bothered by doing the podcast, by doing interviews. So he wants to focus on the development. So which is why he's sending me out to do his dirty work, I guess.
But it's cool. It's nice that you guys recognize that that people want to stay in touch, right? They want to know what's happening and what you guys are going through. So that's very cool.
It is at times, you want to focus on working on the game or working on certain projects, and you want to take a break, like a 1 week or 2 week break from the podcast. But I'm going to try my best throughout the MGS4 development, even in the hardest of times, to at least put out a 20 or 30 minute show. So we'll see. I don't know if I can promise it, but we'll see.
That's
so
awesome.
How are things going with you? How is the show going? Because I've always been a fan of Electirc Playground.
It's we're having our best year we've ever had. We've been making lots and lots of television this year. I did a huge deal with a Canadian broadcaster named Rogers, who actually runs G4 up in Canada, and they picked up EP and reviews exclusively. We were on a bunch of different stations and networks up in Canada for a long time.
But I thought G4 doesn't do games anymore.
Well, G4 in Canada is what G4 used to be in the U.S. It's really funny because we do a couple of tech shows for them as well, so we really are like that amalgamation. They call it G4 Tech TV in Canada.
Well,
and
that's cool.
That's
so
really
it still
what
kind
we
of
are.
remains that what the initial plan was all along.
Yeah.
Right? Is there any way for people in the States or in Europe, or for example, to be able to access that show? Because maybe through like satellite or.
Actually, EP is now available. I did a deal earlier this year with G4 US, and you can watch it on their website on g4tv.com, and they've also got it on their video on demand services, I guess through the Comcast network,
Right.
And then it's on iTunes now.
So you're everywhere then.
And you know what? It's a different world right now. U.S. broadcasting is definitely going through some transitions. They're dealing with the internet as a distribution mechanism.
Right.
So, and we're in the middle of it. We're a content creator, and we're just trying to figure out where to put our stuff. But we do a lot of different shows for different partners, and we're just looking at different ways to get our material out there. We're just going to keep rocking and rolling and do what we do. We've been at this for 12 years, and.
So what do you say to people that say, hey, look, Vic, let's, if you're planning this new show, let's just have it on the web. Let's not put it on TV because TV is dead. Like, what do you say to those people?
I think it's a great idea. Actually, one of our best partners is Turner with GameTap. We do GameTap news for them. We actually won an Emmy this year for the show, and that's I think the first Emmy for video game TV ever.
Is that the first Emmy for anything video game related?
That was such a huge surprise and an honor. It was the Turner folks, the GameTap folks, Chris Peeler, who's our producer at the network. He put us in, and we got nominated and we won it. I wasn't expecting anything like
What's
that.
the category that you guys?
We won it in. It's for the Southeast chapter, which is all of Miami and they're out about Atlanta. So it's that whole sort of southeast corner of the U.S. And we were for the new media for being best in programming in new media or something.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, it felt really cool. And there was all these CNN's there, and all these guys walking up and collecting these statues, and then we're up on stage accepting for video game TV, and it was cool.
That's encouraging. So that's what I'm hoping to see as we move on into 2008. More shows about games, and because there's the demand is there. It's
absolutely
obvious, and even at E4All. There's some talk always about the attendance is not as high as people were hoping. Well, I don't know how high you're hoping if only 4 or 5 major publishers show up.
Yeah.
But before I get on my soapbox, let's hear what you have to say about the show.
Well, I think we as an industry, we kind of burned out on exposure. It felt like E3 was ripped away, and upon reflection, I was getting tired of E3 when it was happening the way it was. Like I was burning out. But upon reflection, I think it's a really big mistake for the industry not to have this giant party about itself every year still.
Right.
I think there was a lot less sort of general interest media covering video games because of the lack of E3 this year. And sales may be up and things might be doing really well, but I think it's still important for the video game audience to be represented in a big, media-centric kind of environment like E3. And I think what has happened because we didn't have it this year is there's been a ton of junkets and a ton of expos and a ton of other smaller venues like E4All all sort of coming up trying to fill that gap. And so I think there's been a bit of this kind of expo conference burnout for people in the media like myself, but also I think for the general audience out there, the enthusiast audience out there.
Well, for E3 is kind of like my theory about Rumble and PS3 is like you don't miss it until it's gone.
Yeah.
And I remember loathing every year going to E3 because it's all crowded and is it really a consumer show or is it a press show because so many people sneak in?
Yeah.
And I do kind of miss that celebrity aspect of it. Like we're kind of celebrating what video games are. And I kind of like the TGS model. I like that idea of having one business day, one media day, and then open it up for the public for 2 or 3 days.
I'll tell you one thing about E3. I think E3 did such a phenomenal job, and that was, thanks in large part to the media. Like I played my part in that as well.
Yes.
We promoted E3 as the mecca of games every year, and that brand has equity.
Right. It does.
People know what E3 means, and this year it really didn't mean anything about what it used to mean. And I'll tell you, as a producer of our programming, I felt like, well, why should I promote E3 this year if it's not what it used to be anymore?
It's a skeleton of its former self.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you in previous years you would walk around LA, you would go to Hollywood, you go to dinner, and then people were like, oh, E3's in town, right? I mean, people, it was
even if they didn't know what it meant.
Yes, they would know. It's kind of. I'm not saying this as far as the Grammys was concerned, or the Oscars, but it was that they had that feeling. Oh, something's big coming in town. There's lots of new a lot of Japanese guests from Japan.
Yep.
They could tell that in May it was going to be that E3 week basically.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss that. So
yeah, I'll tell you a story about E3. When we've been to every one, and in '95 I was getting the idea for Electirc Playground off the ground. We had the website launched and we were starting to shoot demo stuff, and I knew E3 was coming, and so I started the company really like at the beginning of '95, but I knew in May of '95 the first E3 was going to happen. And I met up with a producer that wanted to partner with us on EP, and they thought they could take it somewhere, and they basically offered to be a partner, but they wanted me to pay $5,000 to show how committed I was to working with him, because he was established. And I said, no, I'd rather use that $5,000 and take my crew and go to the first E3. And that turned out to be the smartest thing I did, because I was one of the only cameras here. I met George Lucas that first year.
Oh, cool.
I was at the party that Michael Jackson was at. I was interviewing people that, we have this archive footage that nobody else has out there, and I met everybody in the business at the very first one of these things, and I've remained friends and have contacts that still exist because of that. I met Tommy Tallarico at the very first E3.
That's cool. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
And for our studio in particular, these trade shows have always been important. We support pretty much every major trade show.
Yeah.
And even like the ones that are trying to get off the ground, like E4All or like Geo3 in Australia, we were there.
Yeah.
And I lost track of how many trailers we've done for MGS4, but I think it's around 11 or 12 different trailers.
Awesome.
Always been very supportive, but it looks like this is going to be the last event for us, because we have to start cracking down and getting the game done. But Mr. Kojima talked about this in his speech at E3 this year in Santa Monica, that he misses E3. He misses showing off a new trailer to a huge group of people that are not only media and not only business partners but fans. So we'll see what happens next year. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I love Comic-Con. I think Comic-Con stands for a lot more than comic books now, and there's so much cross convergence of that audience that I wouldn't mind if video games became a much bigger part of that. And it's a pretty amazing show to go to, and I love I love what PAX is doing.
Yeah, that seems like the next big thing.
Yeah, those guys are great, man. I think Gabe and Tycho, they're doing some amazing stuff out there.
Well, let's hope to God that our game will be out before the next PAX, so we won't have to have a new trailer there or something like that.
Well, I
So
do think
fingers
too. You're
crossed.
right, though. Having this open for the gamers. That's one great thing about this E4All is that this is the first time that people are playing your game in North America.
Yeah, this is a big deal. It's the only place in the world you can do it.
That's
And,
incredible.
Yeah, the response has been incredible, and like I've been telling people that we've had everybody who's played the game fill out a survey.
Yeah.
And they rate things like the controls, the graphics, the difficulty. We asked them if they use the threat ring. We asked them what kind of aiming mode they use, because there's two different types of aiming. There's the auto aim and there's the over the shoulder free aim.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a chance to look at too many of those, but I also don't know who's going to actually put that into like an Excel spreadsheet. Who's have to go through every single page and then register all that stuff. But I'm really excited to see the results, because that's going to change what we do next week when we get back to Japan and we start trying to wrap up development on the game.
That's awesome. So E4All is a bit of a focus test for you.
It is. It's I'm not going to deny it. We brought a near finished demo, and
Yeah.
I can't say it's perfect, which is why we're not putting it on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah. That was you guys were trying to get that together too, weren't you?
Yeah, well, we wanted to, and it's just
It's almost there.
It's almost there. It's like an 80% representation of the game, and I'm not satisfied with that.
Yeah.
And neither is Hideo.
Yeah.
So.
You know, the thing that I found about the time that people have here is like 15 minutes or something like that to try the game.
About 12, 15 minutes.
Everybody I've ever talked to about Metal Gear, like they need more time, and I like if it's too hard for them, they give up too soon. And I always encourage them, look, you gotta just sit in and really get into the thing, watch the cutscenes, like immerse yourself in that world, because it does. Every Metal Gear I've played, it takes time.
It does take time, and you have to invest that, and that's something that we have to tackle with the new game, is because gamers, I mean, maybe you disagree, but I think they're getting shorter and shorter attention spans. We only have a few minutes to capture their attention before they're ready to turn on the TV, or they're ready to go on to the next game.
I think if the storytelling is awesome, and you do have to connect with the controls for sure, but if the storytelling is awesome and the fidelity of the experience is really strong right off the top, which Metal Gear 4 looks like it will definitely deliver that, you're going to capture people. Well, one thing I'm really recognizing, and this is not a any kind of slight against BioShock, but I was a little bit disappointed at the end of that game, and I feel like one thing I've never been disappointed about Metal Gear is that if you stick with the whole thing,
You're rewarded, aren't you?
the entire way, and I think that's what developers have to do as well, because not every gamer is going to finish every game, but if you're going to capture people and keep them there for the whole thing, you put all of your eggs into that ending, man.
That's true.
You do a great thing at the end, because that's what's going to keep people buzzing about the next one and get them excited for the next one.
And I'm very excited about what we have planned for the ending of MGS4. It's gonna blow people away. It's going to eclipse whatever we've done in the previous titles. And I could say, without naming names, I haven't been impressed with any ending for any title that's come out this year. And I'm talking about big titles. I'm not going to name names, but they left me wanting to see more and wanting to be rewarded a little bit further for all the hours and hours now that I invested into the game. So
Halo 3 is what you're talking about.
Maybe. I'm also talking about BioShock.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're bad.
I wanted to. Well, listen, we're ruining it for you if you haven't finished, so don't listen to this. Yeah. But I wanted to get out as the Big Daddy outside of Rapture and walk around in the water out there.
Yeah.
You see them walking out there. Why can't you get out there?
This is true, but I also that's a good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But I was disappointed with the ending because I just thought it was kind of too short.
Yeah.
And it didn't have that rich world and all that great writing at the beginning of the game, and then actually up until the ending had.
Yeah.
I felt that.
Yeah, there's the big twist, and then it's just a boss fight.
I thought they were leading up to something major, because it's such an incredible experience, and it's still my favorite game of this year.
Well, if Kojima, and I'm not trying to kiss your butt here, but I just get the sense that if the Kojima Productions team had been on BioShock, there would have been like a chapter 2 embedded in the game, and we would have been outside in what the rest of the world looks like, which I was kind of expecting. I was expecting kind of like Lost type flashbacks in that game.
Well, one thing we have to get, the hurdle that we have to get over is Mr. Kojima's motion sickness, his 3D motion sickness. Because with that, we're never going to get an FPS out of our studio.
Yeah.
So we were playing Halo 3 and showing it to him. and also Mr. Shinkawa, our art director, they're both watching it and they're enduring like this sick feeling that they're getting because they wanted to see what was the next big thing, and it was pretty funny, kind of almost cute in a way because like they're willing to risk getting actually sick by just sitting there and watching the game because
to soak it all up.
To soak up as much as they can before they have to turn away and stuff.
I don't think that it hurts Metal Gear that it's not an FPS though. I think it should be a different experience.
No, not at all. I don't think a Metal Gear FPS could work in some regards, but we'd have to probably get rid of the sneaking aspect of it.
Yeah.
But
that's not that kind of game it is, though.
That's not what it is.
No.
But but on the other hand, I'd like to see Metal Gear branch off, kind of like how the Final Fantasy series has, into different genres.
Sure.
Yeah, I think there's room for that, and we'll see. As we move forward. Like right now, we got to focus on MGS4, but after that, I think all bets are off.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting.
It's a rich universe.
It is. We got a lot of fiction to fill in. But I appreciate you coming on the show. You and I are going to be working on a really cool project moving forward that I'm sure you're going to be on the podcast in the next coming weeks, so we can maybe announce that. But I'm really excited about working with you on that.
Agreed.
On
Me
too.
Too.
That secret project.
Me too. Yeah, this is awesome, man. Huge fan of you guys. So this is.
That's why we want to do it with you, because we met up at it was last month in Tokyo and TGS, and I was really impressed with your vast knowledge of the Metal Gear universe and that's not easy because we have a lot of games and we have a lot of characters to remember. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I'm sold, man. That Metal Gear 3. If you haven't finished Metal Gear 3 and you're listening to this, go buy it right now.
Yeah, that's a perfect opportunity to announce that if you haven't beat Snake Eater, you're not going to be able to buy the retail version of MGS4 because it's going to be a quiz at the retail level.
Oh,
and
really?
If you can't answer those questions correctly, sorry, we don't need your business. Actually, it's more like MGS2 because this really is a sequel to MGS2. You need to answer some questions, a whole essay question about postmodernism in MGS2.
Beautiful.
And we'll see how that goes over. All right, thanks, Vic.
My pleasure, Ron.